Greetings and salutations. This is Imperator Vespasian and his trusty sidekick.
Hello.
We're going to be having a look today at the British command that you get in the Zulu War, Black Powder Zulu War British Army starter set from Warlord Games. These figures are actually from Empress Miniatures, but you get them in the box, so that's quite cool. A few notes first on why we haven't been doing any videos recently. We've sort of missed a week of videos because, as we may have mentioned,
I had my English exams.
yes, he had his English exams, and we kind of thought that swatting for his English exam was slightly more important than messing around with toy soldiers.
I know, it did me good, I passed.
Yes. So, well done to the sidekick.
Yes, and then you bought Resident Evil for it.
Yes,
It's amazing.
Yes. And he got himself a game as a thank you. So well done to the sidekick.
Thank you very much.
You're growing up, aren't you?
No.
You're going to be 4'2" in anytime soon.
Well, I'm 5'1", so let's correct you there, come on.
Actually, that means you're actually Roman sized.
Yeah, you said that.
Actually, no, you're a tall Roman.
Actually, no, I was 5'1", but that was last year.
Yeah,
But I don't think it changed.
So you are the same height as Julius Caesar, and he was considered a very tall Roman because the Romans were hobbits.
God, I'm tiny though.
Yeah, you would be huge. You'd go back to Roman days, and people would be like, "Look at that giant there!
No, more like you saying that you're a giant.
He must be from Gaul." You know what they say about the men from Gaul?
What?
They smell. They're sort of scruffy. They tended to oil themselves in sort of animal fat.
I told that, yeah.
Yeah. Although Germans were worse. They used to oil themselves in.
Anyway, it's about Zulus.
Yes, right. In these days, British Army did not oil itself. Well, not that I know of, anyway. Well, not on
Spartans
duty.
did.
Not on duty, anyway. They may have done in the tents later on. So these are the two commander figures you get in the Starter Army box. The Starter Army box is cool because I got it for Christmas. I didn't know I was getting it. I was dropping huge hints all the way up to Christmas, and I ended up getting something completely different. So actually, this is cool because I wanted to do this anyway.
They weren't actually hints, they were, I really want this.
Oh, look at this! Well, no, I'm not getting him that. I'm getting Zulus instead. It's just because I think my better half just didn't want me to spend so much time making scenery. So just stick to the Zulu War. The two figures you get in the box are Melvill and Pulleine. Do you know who they are?
No.
Right, Pulleine, chap there, he was the overall commander of the British Army at Isandlwana. He wasn't in command of the army, he was in command of the camp. He was an administrative officer.
So a smart person.
Yes, so he spent all of his time sort of administrating, doing whatever you're doing. He was in charge of paperclip sorting and stuff like that. So not the sort of guy you want when your camp is attacked by 4,000
That's the job I want, just put a paperclip on this paper.
So thousands of Zulus come over the hill and it's like, oh, where's the form for Zulus attacking us? Turn to page 579. Yes. Not the sort of man you wanted. Interesting character though, if you look him up. Lots of interesting stuff about him. If you're doing Zulu War, I would recommend a absolutely brilliant book from my library.
He actually walked away from camera.
Yeah, I just walked away from the camera. I'm coming back! I had to go down to the West Wing to the library.
Yeah?
There's a very, very good book. It's this book.
Oh, he's dead.
Right. Brave Men's Blood.
He's dead as well.
By Mr. Ian Knight, and it is a brilliant book, and it tells you all sorts of interesting stuff in there. And if you wanted to do battles, it does actually have quite a lot of information with the original maps and everything inside it, and it's a very, very useful book to use. I might do a video on that later on. It's not important now, but I just suddenly thought of it. So yes, that's a chap dying, poor chap.
Yeah,
on the front
it's
cover.
one man versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Zulus.
Yes, he's in the wrong uniform as well.
Yeah.
Because he was actually in red, but who cares? Anyway.
He's in black now.
Yeah. He didn't have a rank high enough for black. So these chaps are the commanders. He is the commander at the Battle of Isandlwana, where everything went seriously pear-shaped for the poor old Brits. And the other chap, he is Mr. Melvill. Do you know Melvill? What you know what Melvill is?
It looks like a commander.
No, he wasn't a commander. He was an officer, but he wasn't. He was a lieutenant.
It looks like a smart person.
Yes, he was the first man to get the Victoria Cross.
There you go.
At the battle.
He was a great fighter.
Yeah, he tried to save the British colours. Yeah, when everything had fallen apart, he tried to save the colours and died.
How did they know that?
Because one of the guys who was saving the colours with him survived.
Oh, right.
There were 3 men trying to save the colours. 2 of them died. This guy here actually turned back to help his friend who'd been shot, Colgill. His horse had been hit in the leg, and he went back to try and save him. And they fought side by side against the Zulus.
Yeah, that's the movie, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Although they were surrounded by dead Zulus at the end, according to the report. So they did pretty good at fighting, but they were completely outnumbered. Anyway, there they are. That's the commanders you get. So you get an overall commander and a sub-commander. That's basically what it means in the rules. We'll be using smaller units than the usual black powder, so we will need additional commanders for our armies, but we're going to do it on a much smaller unit scale, yeah, as to how we're doing it. Because we're going to be doing quite a few skirmish games, because I'd like to do a bit more of the campaign. As for Isandlwana, we'd actually use full-size units, so there you go. Rules-wise, we're using black powder. That is the card for...
He actually focused the first time.
Sorry, I was standing. That is the card for them. You probably can't see it that well, but that's the card we've done. I've done a complete set of cards for our Zulus, for our Zulu War. If you're interested in the cards, if you sign into minds.com, I will load them all up to Minds, and you can just download them. So if you want a copy of these cards yourself, and if you want me to make any cards for you, just let me know, and if I'm bored I might see if I could put one together for you. I do enjoy making these, it's quite fun. Although the black powder ones are a lot easier to make than the Hail Caesar. Well, they are, they've got a lot less work to do on them. But yeah, so that's basically that. Figure-wise, they're not bad castings, quite easy to paint, but then again the colours are pretty simple. Had a problem with basing.
Yeah, I was about to mention it.
Yeah, you know how we normally do our basing, which is a clear base, like that. So the scenery underneath, it just looks really cool. However, with these figures, the horses from Empress are far too spindly, and I really did not want to cut the hooves cut the hooves flat, because I didn't think there would be enough actual lead to hold the figure up, and they'd risk damaging. You can see the actual base there on the underside. What I did, I stuck the base on, realised that it looked a bit stupid, a long strip, so I added a bit of milliput on both sides, and then put some sand.
Still looks stupid, but
it doesn't look as bad as it did. I think they look alright, and I've added some nice little grass. The grass is from that scenery place. Actually, we sell it. So if you want some of the grass, have a look at our eBay site, Turbo Miniatures on eBay. You can get them off there. There you go. We'll sell it. No, can't remember where we got it off. No, never mind. So that's the basing. Did have a bit of trouble actually fitting this chap onto the horse. He was a little bit loose. Quite a
he's a little bit wonky.
Yes, so I had to put a bit of milliput underneath him to sort of hold him in place.
His legs are too wide.
Yeah, it's not uncommon. It is something that often happens with horses and figures, because they don't make the horse for the figure, they just mass produce the horses and then they make the figures all sort of to fit.
It probably would have been better just to stick them on the figures already.
I suppose it's how they cast them. I'm not really sure. I know you can get figures actually cast to the horse, but it's not very often nowadays. All figures used to be cast to the horse, and they used to be really rubbish figures in the old days. I think they do it a lot better now, and it also gives you a lot more variety in horse. You could have a horse running, you could have a horse standing. Like we have here, we've got one horse sort of more or less stationary, and the other horse is moving a little bit faster. So yeah, I think it works out quite well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, I also added a Zulu shield to the bottom of there because I had a spare shield, so stuck the shield on there. Thought it looked good. Any questions?
What rules we have on it?
Okay, rules. Normal black powder rules. British officers ranged from professional officers to gentleman officers. Your basic difference is your gentleman officers tend to be absolute idiots.
So he would be, in real life, he was a gentleman, and he was one of them.
Actually, both these chaps are career, but
he wasn't in charge of the army like him.
Yeah, no, but you had a lot of different types. You had career officers who were sort of regular British Army officers, but when the Zulu War looked like it was going to be started, you had quite a few people sort of joining up to be an officer. Most of them were in charge of the sort of Natal native troops, and some weren't. But it went both ways. Durnford was actually a career British officer, but he commanded the Natal native troops and was more of your sort of gentleman officer than because he didn't conform. He wasn't one of the lads. He didn't really fit in with the rest of the staff. Interestingly, Durnford and Baden-Powell were on the same ship going out to Africa, and they flipped a coin to see who would go to the different postings, because they both had the same job. And Baden-Powell went sort of to South Africa, and this chap went here. And
died.
Durnford died here, and Baden-Powell ended up being famous at Mafeking, because he had a handful of troops, but he had lights and stuff positioned all over the camp to make it look like there were way more soldiers than they actually were.
That's a smart idea.
Yeah.
Wouldn't work in real life.
And he invented the Boy Scouts. Well, it did work in real life. It did it.
No, it wouldn't work in our day, sorry.
No. Actually, it probably would, because given who he was fighting against, it changed much. And that's...
fact. You there?
Fact.
They're all dead.
The group of people he was fighting against, they weren't that organised, they were sort of insurgents.
Like mercenaries?
Yeah, they weren't fighting against sort of military troops with loads of like night vision gear and stuff like that. They were fighting against insurgent infantry. The Boers were basically skirmishers. They never fought as solid combat troops. They they were all snipers, so they were all sort of hopping around sniping. They didn't form lines to fight battles, whereas the British Army did. So it was a completely different system you were coming up against. So they were able to fool them.
It's a pretty good idea. Pretty cool idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Anything else?
No. Well, that's basically it, really. There's nothing special about the rules because they're just standard. They're just standard command. They don't have anything magic about them. Obviously, because they mounted on foot, they moved 48 inches instead of 30. So 38 or 36. It'll be in the book somewhere. That's the only difference. So you can move your officers faster. Other than that, pretty much the same. So that's really the end of it. If you get anything else to add?
No.
There's not really much to do because these are just command figures. So
yeah, but we're able to
fill 14 minutes, but half of that was waffling.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, good point.
That is our channel. May as well, I think we should rename ourselves the Waffling channel.
Yeah.
The off-topic channel.
If you want to follow me on Minds, I mentioned it before, minds.com, I've just created an account there. I will load up all our cards onto the account if you want to download them and use them, or use them as ideas. It's entirely up to you.
What's your account called?
Vespasian.
Right.
I should have mentioned that first, shouldn't I? Yeah.
Well, for me, people are like, oh yeah, I'm on the site, on the comments, I'm on the site, but what are you called?
Yeah, I'll put a link in the lower bar to our Minds account. And then, over to you for the outro.
So if you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe, and comment down below why he did not mention his account name. That's all I've got. That's all I've got.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for watching. It's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from him.
Goodbye.